Hi everyone, this video will introduce you how to do our a new project, a quick repair building project, which project ID is 343. When you go to the website and try to register, please make sure you read the notice carefully. I will also go with you together. So this project is an easy and low requirement building repair project. So we call it quick repair project. You don't need to check details and we allow errors. You only need to, first, delete all the fake features such as trees, ground, stones, cars, or any strange stuff. But you need to know that we allow some errors. So if there are just a few fake features, then you can ignore them. Don't need to delete it. Okay? So if you see a lot of fake features, many in the task, then you need to delete them. The second one is we need to draw the missing buildings. The same thing, because we allow some errors. So if there are just a few missing buildings, then ignore them. You don't need to draw it, but if you draw it, then it's also fine. But if you miss it, then it's also fine. Okay? So we don't need to fix it if we just have a few errors. Okay? But if you see like a large areas with missing buildings, something like that, and you need to draw them. The third thing is we only need to make sure the big buildings draw correctly. So that means we don't need to check or fix any of the residential buildings. So for the residential buildings, we can ignore them at all. Okay, don't need to check or edit. We only need to make sure the big buildings draw correctly. Big buildings usually include commercial or industrial buildings, such as the shopping mall, in factories in the rural area, also in the downtown area, in the dense building area, there might be many big buildings. So we just need to make sure the big buildings are drawn correctly. Okay? So in general, don't be strict. Don't be strict, okay? We have very low requirement on this project, and you don't need to check the small buildings and residential buildings at all. So make sure you can finish a task very quick and try to earn a high hourly rate. Okay, so this is the general requirement of this project. Then I will also go with you together with the specific requirement of each row. So here is the overall requirement that I already mentioned. We have filter work for this project. So the checkers and judges, you will work as filter first. So what a filter need to do, because I said this project we just need very low requirement, so maybe many of the tasks that we don't need to fix at all. So as a filter, you need to determine whether this task need to be fixed. So you need to determine whether this task have some issues that I mentioned as the requirement here. If a task has many issues which mentioned above, then this task needs to be fixed. Then you need to fail it. Press CTRL and F. But if a task only has tiny errors, then just ignore them. Pass it. CTRL and A. For the labeler, you need to know that only the tasks with some issues which mentioned above will be pushed back to the labeler side. So when the filter determines that this task has some issues that we cannot ignore, then they will fail it and the task will go to the labeler side. So it means all the tasks you get somehow need to be fixed. So please follow the requirement above to do proper edit. If you see there are a lot of fake buildings, then delete them, okay? If you see many buildings are missing, then draw them. Or if you see there are some big buildings but with very bad shape, with very large errors, then you just need to fix them. So actually it will be very easy. Also, you don't need to check or edit or repair any of the small buildings or residential buildings, okay? Because we don't have any requirement on those buildings. So don't edit it or don't fix those small buildings and residential buildings. It will make you work slower down, and it's not good for you, right? Because we need to, if we can work quicker, then we can earn highly hourly rate, okay? So don't do any redundant work or useless work, okay? Just focus on the requirement. Okay, for checking and judging, when you check the task submitted by the labeler, you also need to follow the requirement above. So don't be strict, okay? Don't be strict. If there are no issue mentioned here of the task, then the task is a good one, okay? Then just pass it. If there maybe the labeler sometimes miss some issue, then you can just fix them. I believe that most of the tasks don't need to be fixed at all, okay? So for filter, for when you are doing the filter work, make sure that you don't fail too many tasks, because that's abnormal, okay? That's abnormal. So usually we only have a few tasks that need to be pushed back, okay? We need to be pushed back for the labelers to fix, but most of the tasks that we don't need to do so, okay? When you do the filter work, if you feel that if you see some big fake building, something like that, maybe you can just delete it like very quickly and then pass it, okay? So only you feel that there are many issues and you waste a lot of time to fix them, then you should fail to the labeler side, okay? Yeah, so now I also want to show you some examples. Now I'm working as a filter, and for this project I think the key thing is how to determine whether this task is good to pass or bad enough to push back, right? So you can see that in this task, all small buildings, right? All small buildings, and not many fake buildings. Press R to check, right? Not many fake buildings and not many missing buildings. Even though there might be some, one or two or just a few, but not many, right? Okay, then we can just approve it. That's a perfect task, okay? It's a perfect task, then we can approve it. Now another one. Okay, so all small buildings, right? And then not many fake buildings. Maybe just a few, but we can ignore, right? You don't need to look at it very carefully, just you can glance at it and quickly make a decision. And not many fake buildings, not many missing buildings, then it's a good task and we can approve. Also, that's the same thing. Not many fake buildings, not many missing buildings, and no big buildings that we need to check carefully, then we can just approve. So for the small buildings like this, we don't need to care about whether it's drawn correctly or not, whether the shape is perfect or whether there are some errors. We don't need to check it at all. We just need to check whether there are many fake buildings or whether it has many missing buildings, and whether there are some big buildings that we only need to check their accuracy. Okay, so for this one for sure it's a good task and we can prove. And also for this one we can just go through it so quickly. Like yes, there's not many fake buildings and not many missing buildings. So I don't care about the shape of the small buildings at all, and there are no big buildings, so I don't need to check their accuracy at all, and I can approve it. Same here, you see, not many missing and not many fake. I don't care about the shape, but if I feel like, yeah, I can ignore it, so approve it. You see here the big buildings, oh, they have very good shape, not big errors, and like for the small buildings, no missing, not many missing, not many fake buildings. And for the big buildings, the shape are also very good, then just approve. As well as for such a very dense area, and you can just need to see whether the big buildings are correct, and for the small buildings, just ignore them. You don't even need to check the details. And not many missing building, right? Because they are not an obvious issue in this task, right? It's not a major issue then. And also not many fake buildings, right? So even though maybe there are some ground like this, a few, but we can ignore them. It's not an obvious, it's not a significant situation, then we can ignore the issue. Also here, there's some ground, but it's not a big issue to push back to let the labeler to fix. Then maybe you can just delete them right away, and that's very quick, right? And yeah, no missing, not many missing, not many fake building, then approve. So for the previous task I showed, I just slowed down my speed because I need to do the explanation. But for this one, I will show you the real speed, okay? So, and you can see how quick you can do. So for this one, because these big buildings is not like this, is not drawn like correctly, and the shape, so we only need to check the accuracy of the B buildings. So I have to push it back like this, like this, like this. We need to fix. And also there's a big ground here, so we need to fix like this area. So if you feel like if you want to make comments to highlight for labeler where to fix, then you can also do that. But if you don't want it, then you can also don't do that. So it depends on you. But I think I just suggest you just to push back and don't make comments, because it will make you slow down. So try to speed up, okay? Try to do less as you can, and try to pass it or fail it. Try to make decision as quickly as you can, okay? So I just failed this task. So some of the tasks might have some topology error, so you need to fix that. And for this one, it might be a kickback here, so I will just fix it. And also remember that when you get a task that you cannot push it back or approve successfully because of the topology error, then make sure when you get this task, make sure you need to decide again whether to push back or approve, because maybe you will forget what you just want to do, right? So you just need to make sure this task is for approve or it's for pushback. And for this one, definitely we need to approve. And this task also have some topology error. Then we will just fix it quickly, just delete it, and yeah. And then this one that we need to fill it, right, for this wrong big buildings, and we just fill it. And I got another one, and you see no big building, and not many missing, and not many fake buildings, so we can approve. So overall this task is also good. You can see that I just ignored all the shape, all the small errors, and the strange things on the ground because they are not significant issue. Okay, it's not a very frequent issue, so for a task look like this, you can also approve. Yeah, not many fake and not many missing. So if you want, then you can just delete something that on the ground, and then approve. Okay, another topology error to fix, and then approve. For this task, we see a lot of big buildings, and you see the big buildings are drawn wrongly, right? So actually for this one, we need to fill it. Okay, and also in the industrial area, it draws some like this, the truck or the containers. Then probably we need to delete them. So actually the issue happened in this industrial area. So if you think that you want to help the labeler to locate the issues quickly, then you can just make a comment and say fix the industrial area, fix this area, or something like that. Then the labeler will know that you only need to focus on this part, and he can ignore the other small buildings, right? You see that here they draw a lot of containers that are wrong, and they are all fake buildings. And also for the big buildings, like many big buildings are drawn wrong, like this, right, this. So definitely this building need to be pushed back to fix. Yeah, for this one, not many missing, not many fake building. So I will just delete some very big round myself, and then approve it. Also for this, there are no big building, so we just need to look at there are many missing or many fake buildings. But no, not many issues, then just approve. For this one, yes, the same, not many issues, approve. Like this, the big building definitely wrong, right? You can see. So also you need to fix this area, and also for here, actually they're not building. I think there are just some materials on the ground because this is an industrial area. So also we can make a comment here, fix this area. then all the fake buildings need to be deleted, and the wrong big buildings need to be fixed for sure. So you can see that if you feel that there are too many errors, and then you will feel that like this part need to be fixed, right? And for other small buildings, you can see the errors are not very frequently happen, and there are not many very serious issues, right? But for this area, you can see that everywhere has some issues, right? Fake buildings, wrong big buildings. So you can feel that like this area has too many errors that we need to push back to let labeler to fix. So usually the issues happen around the big buildings. For here there are some missing, sorry, there are some fake, but not many, so I can do that myself. Yeah, check the big buildings. So we also need to fix the big buildings here. And for this part, I think it's okay. Yes, these are we can consider these are all small buildings because it doesn't look like a commercial or industrial building. So only this part. For this one, the same thing, no big building. So we just check whether there are many fake buildings or many missing buildings. No, so approve. And for this task, definitely you need to fix because it missed the greenhouse and also draw the wrong over here. But for the small buildings, perfect. So not many missing, not many fake buildings. Then for here, we just need to ask them to fix the greenhouse. For this task, no big building, so just need to check the fake building and missing building. So for here, there are a little bit more ground here, like this. They are all ground. So actually, I think for many grounds appear together, then maybe you can just delete it. It's much quicker to push back for the labelers because they need to fix that, and they need to find out the issue first, and then they need to fix that, and then they submit again and let the checker check it again. So that will waste a lot of time. Yeah, here miss a big building, a very office building, so we can just add it. Yeah, and for this one, so like this task, I think you can fix it by yourself because it's not many errors, but you can also push it back. Okay, so for this task, it depends on you. And for this one, it's good, so just approve. This one overall is good, so the big buildings are correct, right? And not many fake buildings and not many missing buildings, so there's no significant issues. Then we just approve. So usually for the task, the speed will be about 7 seconds to 10 seconds to make a decision. So try not to use more than 10 seconds for a task, okay? And try to use 7 seconds or even lower than that, okay? Or even less time than 7 seconds to make a decision. like for this, maybe I will just check the big buildings and then ignore all the small buildings and just find whether there are some a lot of missing, a lot of ground, something like that. And definitely it will just take a few seconds to do so. Yeah, so just try to reach a high speed, and after you check a few tasks, then you will be very familiar with it, and then you can do much quicker. Okay, so at the end, let's do a quick summary. So for this project, I hope you guys understand the rules carefully, even though it's very easy, but it's also very important because in the future we will have a lot of projects similar like this. Okay, a lot of. So at least we will have the projects for 3 months. Okay, we will have to do such project for 3 months. So so if you can understand the rules carefully, and I believe that you can earn a lot from such projects. So for the requirement for the quick repair project, so we don't need to check or edit the small residential buildings at all. Okay, only need to check the big buildings. Need to make the big buildings draw correctly. And then second one is we need to delete the fake buildings if you see a lot of, okay, if you see many. But if you just a few, it just randomly distributed throughout the task, not many, then you can ignore them. Okay, if they happen like in a group, right, a group of fake buildings, then you need to delete them. Also, the third one is if you see many buildings are missing, then you need to draw them. Okay, if there are just a few, just randomly distributed throughout the task, and there are very small buildings, then you can ignore them. So that's basic the rules and the quality requirement of the quick repair project. So that's very simple. And make sure when you do the filter work, okay, just don't do the wrong fail or wrong pass. Okay, only the task with many issues, then fail it. Okay, not many issues can be passed, then pass it. Okay, so don't mix them up. So that's pretty much for this project, and if you have more questions later, then you can ask any of our managers, or you can ask the friends also doing our project. Okay, thank you so much.